Right, boys, let's make this video though really quickly. Want to talk about why you gotta develop an attitude and why it's so detrimentally important to building up your character. Right, so let's just go straight into no BS. Let's cut off right into right. So, reason being, first thing first is like if you don't, then everything in life is just going to seem way harder than it actually should be. Reason being, secondly, is that you're going to live off your life by like someone else's terms, and if you're happy with that, then that's on you. But I don't think any human being, like, which is rational enough, would be happy with this sort of like constraint in their life, right? Because if you do not develop an attitude, right, which is basically like based on something, right, which is like has like, you know, backed by something, right, by your character, backed by your skills, backed by certain things, then the most problem that you're going to have is not being at peace with yourself. So you're going to be at the peace with the world because you're not going to have the character and attitude, but you're going to be kind of like at war with yourself, and you don't want that. If anything, you don't want that. The most problematic like diseases per se of like nowadays diseases, which is like anxiety, depression, all that shit, right, comes usually from, you know, being aligned with yourself. I'm not going to go into like the whole spiritual type of things, right? I'm not going to approach the problem from that point of view, but what I'm saying is like keep it rational and keep it actually like engaged with yourself, like the actions that you do on a daily basis. Think about it, like, does that sort of like align with who you are? Have you noticed who you are? Have you put that in practice? Have you tried to do like all these things to keeping like stay as true to yourself as you can? And if you do so, then it's not even necessarily like about an attitude, because people will come at you and be like, oh, okay, you got like such an attitude, you got like, you're so like, I don't know, egocentristic, you're like so whatever, right? It's not about that. It's about like getting to know yourself, getting to know your like, and not necessarily getting to know, but I mean, after that stage is going to be more so like of the inner work, like the rational logic inner work that you have to do, because you have to choose at that point, like, okay, I've established who I am, I established what I want, I established where I'm going forward, and if I do so, then I gotta rely on something, I gotta rely on myself. So I can't just, you know, go out in the world like expect things to happen if I'm not going to approach them a certain way. And how am I going to do that if I'm not gonna have like something to say? You know, you gotta be like really intentional with the things you do, the things you say, who you hang around with. And in order to do that, you just genuinely need to build that level of like authenticity on you, right? You gotta build, because you gotta know who you're going to associate with, what are the things, what are the scenarios, who are the people you're going to associate with. So all in all, you gotta develop all these motherfucking skills that you're going to put under the umbrella of like having an attitude. You're going to be misinterpreted for having a like per se attitude, but that attitude itself comes from all these underlying things that you gotta like work on, right? So you think about it, it's nothing that you would rather do than being a genuine peace with yourself and knowing the things that you've been approaching, the way you've been approaching it at that moment in time is being true to yourself, like those being your principles, your standards, you stand it for, and the way you approach things is being in rapport to them. So there's not going to be any regret whatsoever in the future. It's just going to be lessons, realizations from like, okay, that's how I thought at the time. I thought it was alright. I thought it was good. I actually thought about it. It was nothing happening. Like I wasn't an effect caused by something else. I was the initiator. I was the reaction, like the one that created the reaction, that put things into the universe. Therefore, you know, I take full responsibility for stuff. That's where you wanna end up. That's where you wanna like kind of like, you know, be in with your like mental state, with your mental approach on things usually happening. You want to be causing what's happening rather than just being a, again, a side effect. So all in all, just believe in yourself and the thing you can the things you can do. And if you don't, who cares, man? Just believe in yourself, like 100. You cannot just do things without like truly like believing in yourself, because when you do, you take responsibility, you take accountability, and by doing so, nothing is going to be more of a lesson than that approach of like being present in time, genuinely. Because what you want to do, you want to like shorten the feedback loop, right? Rather than just like doing shit and just expecting things to like give you an input from the outside, right? Based on like, you know, give you a feedback. What you want to do is like you want to be in a very much sync with yourself. You want to be, okay, I know what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I expected to happen, because this is what I've outputted, right? This is what I put into the stuff. So then I want to see what's coming back, and then, you know, like you're just closing that gap of uncertainty. And then that's how you kind of like correct yourself, that's how you kind of like improve yourself, because you are always in sync with your thoughts, with your intentions, with your expectations, based on pure, genuine like parameters and criteria that you've established in the first place. So you kind of like knew everything ish from the very start, right? So then you can auto correct yourself very efficiently, like as efficient as possible, right? Um, well, anyway, that was it. Yeah, have a good motherfucking day. Just crush it.